Hi, everybody. It's Andra Annette and CJC Board, and we're here from the Real Entrepreneurial Life. And today we've decided to talk about time management, something that gets a lot of us stuck. Does this get you stuck?
It does. I start my day intentionally and I like lay in bed and I set my intention for what the day is going to be. And unless I have it like put in my calendar and really blocked out the time, I get sidetracked so easily. And I think that that happens for a lot of us.
I definitely would have to agree with that. So I find that I'm a procrastinator by nature. So if a butterfly's going by, I'm over there.
Sure,
If
sure.
someone says, Andra, can you help me? I'm like, yes, please let me, you know. So for me, it's really difficult to adhere to certain things. So what I had to do was start scheduling specific things for me, and I still get away from that. So the only thing that I really like pull back on is stuff that's scheduled for me. Like I don't let anything interfere with that. So when I started getting really busy in my business, I did, right? And you can't be a health coach and not be healthy,
Right.
right? So I said, where am I going with this? And do I want to pull back on this? Because if it doesn't matter where you get if you lose yourself in the process. And
Agreed.
I think a lot of us do get away from that. So I've been in like different courses and stuff on time management. What do you find helps you, or what information have you heard out there that you said, yeah, I could do that?
A couple things that really help me is time blocking. Like I do what's called a power hour in my business every single day. So I do an hour every single morning from 10 to 11. Obviously not today. And from like 3 to 4. So I block out those times where I actually like shut my phone off so I can't hear the dinging notifications from Facebook or emails or anything. So I do the power hour and I spend like the first 15 minutes doing follow up, like answering messages that I've had in the past, or answering comments or likes on page on posts or stuff like that. And then I sit and I do like the intention, like, okay, what's moving my business forward? What things do I really need to concentrate on in the next 15 minutes that are going to get me towards that goal that I said that I wanted? And then the last 15 minutes is kind of just sitting with myself and just being really conscious about celebrating. Okay, I actually did this. I reflect back on the day before or the week before and go, okay, this is what you've accomplished. This is what you've done to really like hone in the celebration of you actually did this, you committed to it and you stuck to it. And I do that twice a day because a lot of times in the afternoon, you get that afternoon slump and you're like, okay, I just want to go take a nap or whatever. And I use that time to just really connect with myself in the afternoon to just be like, okay, I can take a break and know that my business is going to still move forward because I'm being conscious about really serving myself and taking that time. So time blocking for me is a really huge key. And then also setting alarms in my phone. I do these things called vibe boosters. So like every 2 hours, I set an alarm and it makes me stop and I just either get up and yell and scream and dance and do something joyful to like get myself moving, or I listen to something inspirational, or I, read a page in a book that I'm currently reading or something. But it's just like consciously stopping throughout my day every 2 hours to go, okay, take a break from whatever it is you're doing, connect in this moment and be present in this moment right now. And that really helps me to like get through the day and be like, okay, I got this. I can figure this out, or I can do this. It's reminding me that I can do hard things. And I think a lot of us miss that mark, is just like really stopping and being present in the moment right now. We're always like thinking ahead, I have to do this, or this is what I'm got to get done. Where if we're really taking the time to be like, okay, just really going to connect with right now, that's really important for me. So those are the two things that really helped me, and it really changed the trajectory of how I run my business.
For me, I spend probably the most time delegating throughout the day, taking things off my plate. I mean, as nurses, we delegate all day long, so that's just like always been part of my thing. But I try to delegate things that I don't want to do and things that I kind of feel into in my business, things that will represent who I am the most, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I'm putting up a post like happy morning, that doesn't really represent me, right? So anybody can do that. But when it comes to showing up or talking or doing a video that I can post the next day or something like that, that has to be me. So I try to look at the tasks I have and determine how important is it for me to do it, or can I give it away to somebody else? Because for a long time, I did everything, and I don't think I was really efficient in any of them. You know what I mean? When you
Yeah.
have so much stuff on your plate, you can't be in all those places, and when you are, the quality of you that's there isn't that good. So for me, I try to focus more on quality for myself, I guess. You know, I liked what you do with the blocking time. I do that with emails. I won't answer. I'll only check my emails. It used to be twice a day. Now I only do it once a day. So needless to say, it's very full. So because I don't do that, so I think I'm going to delegate that task. Clean this up for me, please. Um, but yeah, so the phone too, like I'll only return calls at certain times during the day. So sometimes I'll be in the middle of a conversation with someone, and that time that I allow for it will end, and I'll come back later and answer it.
Yeah.
Because if not, you can get lost in those chats or lost in those emails, and before you know it, an hour that you really need somewhere else is gone. And that used to happen to me all the time.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, a lot of people like everybody and their brother has a challenge out there. Everybody's like trying to get people to come into their business or be in their space by doing these challenges. And I think for me, being integrity with myself and going, okay, do you really need to be in that challenge? Do you really need to invest time in that? Is that really going to make you feel good at your soul, or is it going to move your business forward? When in reality, it's like, no. And when you said procrastination, it's like, that was an excuse I used to not do the thing, because I could say, oh, I'm in this 5 week or this 5 day challenge, and it's, really going to move me forward. And I would spend time doing the thing and not really doing the things that really set you up for success in your business or in life in general. A lot of people just use those things as an excuse. And so for me being really intentional about where I'm spending my time and my energy, and just really being honest, is that going to help me? Is that going to help me serve other women? If not, then I don't commit to those things anymore.
See, it's funny you should say that because I used to sign up for a lot of them, but never show up for any of them. And I said, what's the point? So now, if the new thing I find that in chats, a lot of people tell you that they have this master class coming up that's going to be so insightful, and I can only have one guest. Will you come? And it's the same thing. They're just trying to get you in their business. Oh, we have nothing to sell. Of course they do.
Yeah.
Otherwise it would just be a total time suck for all these people that are messaging me this stuff. The same exact thing, right? So I just tell them, no, I'm sorry, I'm just too busy. I thank you so much for thinking of me. But I really can't. Sorry.
Yeah, and I think those things, and it's funny because I just put up a post about, because we're having a master class on the 16th, and I put up a post about it, and it's like, I really want to have the conversations with people who like really want to change their lives, and I just want them to see what's possible. But in reality, the people who use that as a marketing tool to get people in, it's long lost, because everybody and their brother is doing it. There's nothing that sets you apart from anybody else if you're doing that. So like having conversations sitting across the table from somebody else is where like really where it's at. So as you were talking, is I'm making a conscious effort like to have like actual coffee chat meetings where I make my cup of coffee and I come and sit down and have a conversation with a woman like once a day or something like that, to really build that conversation and that rapport, because everybody's using the same tactics or ploys to get people in. And in reality, I think people just really want to feel that genuine connection, like you're actually sitting across the table from them, listening to them, and you're really interested about what they say. Because if you go to a master class, I mean, I've done the same thing. You go to the master class and you're like super excited at the beginning, and then you're like scrolling on your phone as the person's talking, and that's disrespectful. It's not only that person giving you their time, but to you too. Why are you wasting your time saying yes to be in a space where it's not, you don't really want to be there?
The last masterclass that I was in that I got something out of was Tony Robbins and Dean Graciosa.
Oh,
So
that's a big one.
that I got something out of. And who's the other guy that I love? I can't think of his name right now, but I absolutely adore him. He's got a father too. I can't think of him right now. It just went out of my head. But I own a lot of their stuff. So it was easier for me just to buy what they were selling at the ends of that so that I could keep it, like when you upgrade. So
I
I
can
can
go
keep
back
it.
and look at
I'm
them.
not coming, but thanks for the information. So and then you skim through it and see if it's the same thing that everybody's doing, because I think we all learn from each other what's working and what's not. And things that were working before are not working anymore because some people turned them into very salesy, sleazy stuff, and or the other thing is that a lot of people hire these um appointment setters, I guess it is.
Yeah.
Bye, Bev. You just kissed my head. um they hire these appointment setters and they don't have the same etiquette that a coach does, right? So they don't, or a business person or a professional, whatever you are, a consultant, coach, whatever, right? So if you want that client, you're going to spend time and ask them what's important to them and what they're looking to achieve and all that stuff. Where these people just come in and say, I can set 15 appointments for you. Well, really, how can you? Because you don't know what I do. You can't
Yeah.
speak to it the way I do because you're not the professional on it, right? So you're going to get me 25 unqualified calls?
Yeah. So that's just a waste of your time
Yeah,
and your
correct.
effort and your money. I know, and people, those, I get probably like 10, 15 of those a day. And it's like, hey, what if we could get you this qualified leads, or we could set appointments or get this many people in your door? It's like, no, I want the people to feel my energy. I want the people to know that I genuinely care about them. I want to connect with them. And, I think people talk about automation, and automation is a time saver, when in reality, if you're in a business to make genuine connections and actually impact and change lives, you have to be the touch point person for those people to be able to feel your energy and your support, instead of just having somebody, sitting behind the computer sending them a message. I think that the personal touch is where it's at. I think it's got to turn around and go back to that.
I don't think people buy the program. I think they buy what you're selling. Like your personality, like whether or not they believe in you, right? So
Agreed.
so that's what I think. But I think where automation is concerned, it's really about the process that you're automating, like scheduling your posts so you don't have to do it every day. Like mine are scheduled into May, and that's only because I've been slacking, right? But and I could give that away, but maybe I'm like a little bit of a control freak, but I like to decide where things are because for me, um when I'm scheduling things out, it goes with the process of what I'm trying to help people with.
Right.
So you know what I mean? So in my mind, things come up in different areas. So I put them in different areas. But there's tools to make it very easy. Certainly when I was doing it all by hand, 3 years ago, it was taking me a lot of time. There was no time for business because it was all about posting, right? So um but it's learning processes that connect them all together. So the automation is really connecting the back ends, not the front ends. And I think when it comes into the front end, where you're speaking to 300 people at once, sometimes that can help because it does enhance that momentum. Like if you're doing group coaching, everybody's in one place.
Yeah.
But I find that even like I do workshops, um just educational. I'm really not selling anything at the end of that. You know what I mean? Like someone asked me to do a menopause. I have no intentions. I mean, if someone asked me, "Hey, Andra, what can I do for my menopause?" Well, this is what helped me, but I'm not out here teaching that. So
Right.
so I really do those educational, but I find that less and less people show up because they're waiting for that pitch and they start the webinar saying, okay, when's it coming?
Yeah.
Can they
Wait,
hurry
wait
up
for
and
it.
tell me
Wait
what they're
for it.
selling
Yeah.
because I have somewhere to be?
Exactly.
So I think that things have gotten people have gotten very transparent. without intending to be, like, because everybody's teaching the same words to say, and that takes away from the authenticity that we are, the people that we are, those genuine people. They're all becoming little mini me's or little robots, and people aren't going to sign up for that. So this guy might have gotten to seven figures using those words, but his personality tied into that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
How he
exactly.
sold his heart. Like, can you hear his heart in what he's saying and why he wanted to help? But when you get 300 people in, are they really speaking from the same place?
Right. Yeah.
I don't
And
think
I
so.
think, no, and I think it's funny, like when you read people's posts, or even people, sometimes when people do live and you catch a live and you hear that catchphrase, and I mean, for me, my eyes just roll in the back of my head and like glaze over, because it's like, okay, I know who you trained with. I know what the sales technique is. I know the thing. And in reality, I want somebody who is like just speaking from their heart, speaking from what makes them happy, what lights them up, the genuine desire to help people, instead of like, just copy and paste in somebody else's shit. For people who come to me and say, "Oh, I took this course and I have this certification and I did this," I don't care. I want to see your transformation. I want to see your before and after picture. I want to feel the change that happened for you, not for you to tell me I can do this. I want to feel that for my soul. And I think that a lot of people are missing that.
Yeah, but through the network that we're doing, I'm meeting a lot of interesting people, and I don't see any of them on social media, which is odd. It's odd. Like, I met with a doctor, and I loved her, and we had this conversation about Western medicine. I asked her, is it difficult for you to do that transition? I said, because you kind of always tell people, I know that's my role too. You got to do this. You want to lower, your blood pressure, then stop it, and you don't want to have hypertension, then this is what you got to do. You want to, all these different things. So we kind of tell them, you know, and we don't really ask them, are you close to these type of foods? Do you have food security? Or, some people have to choose between medicine and food. You don't know what's going on in other people. So you send them out the door and you assume, that they're doing good until they come back 6 months later and they haven't done anything. And you say, well, come on, we've had this conversation, but you never said, so what was hard about what I said? Where was the difficulty in what I said? This is what you got to do if you don't want to lose a toe, right? So where did we get lost here? Are you near that food? And what are you having trouble with? Because if people can't implement it into their own life, it doesn't matter what you're teaching. It matters how they can apply it to their life. Because I can't certainly apply a lot of the things that I heard out there when I was on my weight loss journey. I couldn't listen to any of that stuff. People were at the gym an hour. I said, this girl's not going to any gym for an hour. It's
Not
just not
happening.
happening. It's not happening. I had such a god awful experience at a gym one time that I don't think I ever went back. And it was an all female gym,
Oh,
and
wow.
and it was just, I got so grossed out by something I saw. I said, "Oh my God, I could stay home. I don't need to be here." You know what I mean? And it wasn't a person. It was just something they were doing. Was just like really poor taste, really nasty, like gross. Like, women don't belong doing that. And I said, I can't go back. I could just. I joined the Wise right across around the corner from my house. I joined every year because I wanted the kids to go. They have the pool there and stuff, right? I never walked around the corner to go. Never walked around the corner to go. So didn't fit with what I wanted to do. So I said, okay, well, maybe I'm that tape girl. So you have to find what works for you. You know, I would work out for hours with weights, and I found that I got better results with a 20-minute tape. you know and so it's different because I was using more muscles. So I think it's the same in business, that if you have all these things that people are telling you, you have to really decipher what part of that works for you. I can do this, okay, I can post one post every day. I could do follow up. I suck at follow up, but I do. Like someone will say, hey, Andra, get back to me next week. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, because it gets away from you because there's so many people doing that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't want to be that person that's in your inbox bothering you. So if we have a conversation, if you contact me and you say you want my help, then okay, I'm all in. How can I help you? Right. But if you're asking me something in a chat message and I say, hey, I can actually help you with that. And you say, oh, I'm really busy. Get back to me next week. I'm not coming back next week because if you're really serious, you would have said, okay, let's set up a conversation for next week, right?
Right, exactly. And that goes back to the whole time priority. Like you do the things that are important at the time. Schedule it
Sure.
in. Like you said, if you're having a conversation and that person genuinely wants your help, then they schedule that in the next time to make sure that they're in your time frame because they know that you're busy. They know that you have a billion things going on.
Yeah. So, like, even with the network, I have people giving me their like whole life story, and I say, I really don't have time for this. You know, either you want it or not. Book a call and leave me alone. So, but I'm not going to read everything you did since you were
Right.
3 to decide if you're on my show. Either we have a connection or we don't. But even if we don't have a connection, and I think you have something important to say, I don't have to like you to like what you're saying. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah,
about me.
exactly.
If I think you have something to offer the world, I'm gonna share you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not about what I think people need because everybody needs something different, right? Who am I? I'm just me, right? So I don't know what everybody needs. But I think as far as time management, so there was a gentleman that I worked with years ago, and he talked about that butterfly syndrome. And as he was saying it, I just put my head down and I was like, oh man, he knows what I do with
Talking
my
about
time, right? I took that to, I was like, oh man, can't even these people know what I'm up to, right? And I felt like he was calling me out. But but he goes through this whole video thing about what you could do every day to get away from that, right? So he started with meditation, like in the morning, you should have a morning meditation or a gratitude list. I chose gratitude. I meditate on the way to work. And then spends that 2 hours, first 2 hours of your day working on things in your business, right? So that's done. You've gotten yourself out of the way. You've gotten the first whatever you need that's most important in your business is done in the first 2 hours. And then you worry about those calls and those returns and things like that. And that's where I started only doing it twice a day. So when people leave me a message, I'll call them and say, hey, I tried to reach you, and just so you know, your call is important to me, but I only return calls at 5 and 7. So if you need to speak to me before then, just realize, that I'll get back to you. But because I don't, I have to stick to that because I've gotten sucked in those traps, those time traps, so many times. Even now, even when I have the best intentions of, sitting down, okay, I got to handle this, and this. Someone will come in and distract me, and wherever I am, and it will be like, the hell was I doing? You know,
yeah.
because it breaks your train of thought. But I think it is important to manage time like you do with those little segmented breaks. So if you work for 40 minutes, take a 10-minute break because it does help you step back and get a new perspective on what you're doing. Sometimes we're so involved in what we're doing that it becomes kind of robotic, and we're not really sharing what we need to. We're sharing that tired. We're sharing that place, right? But if we step back and we feel refreshed, because it is about feeding yourself a little. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think that we get stuck in the time suck of just going through the motions. If we're not intentional about taking that 10-minute break, then we're just going through the motions. And like you said, we go through and we do things half-assed all day long and we've not really accomplished anything. But if we take a step back and we go, okay, 10 minutes to reconnect with myself and really be intentional, and then you're fired up again for the next hour or 2 hours.
So would you like to see, we talked about automation. Would you like to see more automation in your business? And by that, I mean like when you go live, you ever see these event Raptor webinars where you can help someone get a goal or something. Let's say someone wants to lose weight. So you can do a video, a 15-minute video or a 5-minute video introducing what you're going to teach them in that webinar. Hey, if you've been struggling with losing weight for a really long time, I'm going to help give you 3 things that are going to help you get those results quick, right?
Okay.
So basically you are doing that workshop, but it's a recording. So either people want it or they don't. And you let them know at the end of this, if you want more help,
Right.
then you have the opportunity to work with me closely, right? So you're telling all them that, so that they
Right.
know, right? But for the webinar, this thing, it's all automated, right? So anybody can get it anywhere. They just follow that link and they can watch it. And if they say, hey, I connect with her, so I've seen a lot of them do. Gillian Perkins, are you familiar with her?
I've heard the name.
She's very business minded. I like her. And I followed a lot of what she did in the beginning. Like I liked her style and everything. And she does a lot of those webinars. So a lot of times I don't have time to go to these workshops, but she does them. And if she's talking about something I want to learn, like,
Right.
how to do this really quickly, then then I'll go and I'll sit through that because it's a half an hour, but you can watch it whenever you want.
Yeah. And I do those. I mean, I've recorded my own webinar for business and that. I think those are very important. Like you said, people can watch them when they have
Losing you.
the time to do it, and if it's something that excites them. But I think that it needs to be like your face, your voice, your message, instead of like sending some webinar that's like, if you're talking to a stay-at-home mom, you don't send a webinar for some business lady who's never been a mom, try to tell her how to build a business, that type of thing. So I'm all for automation, and I think that that's very important as far as the time control as well, because you pick and choose what you can implement into your business to be automated, that's going to help you save your energy for the things that really matter, like having those conversations.
I think that's good. So anything else you would like to tell somebody about time management that helps you save time every day?
I think just being really intentional, just like setting boundaries. And I think it's, people talk about setting boundaries with other people. I think it's very important to set boundaries with yourself, to be realistic about what you can and cannot do, to be realistic about what you want to accomplish, and just really have the boundary. If you say you're going to do something, like for me, like I'm doing the 75 hard, if I say that I'm going to do it, nobody's in my house today. I could have laid in bed and been like, I don't have to do it. Nobody's going to know. I'm going to know that I didn't do it. So setting the boundary and being intentional about how I'm treating myself or what I'm doing for myself is going to, ripple out into everybody that I have a conversation with. So I think for that, it's choosing and being intentional about the time that you're implementing, the time that you're spending, and just be really conscious of that and do the things, that are going to move you forward, but also do things that really set your soul afire and set you up for having complete joy.
Yes. So I'm more intentional with that. So I have this whole thing that I do self first, because for a long time I put myself last. I was that people pleaser, that yes person, okay, I'll do it. Honey can, yes. Honey can, yes. So I know that if I don't do that, that I'll be right back where I was, and it's very hard to tell people how to improve their health or how to be intentional when you're not, because then you're not in alignment with what you're saying. I can't tell people to manage their time and they come to my home and everything's upside down, and and I haven't done the laundry, or I don't know where things are, and because cleaning
Right.
up should have gotten there somewhere, right? So yeah, you have to be intentional, but you also have to, you know, you have to mean what you say and say what you mean, you
And
know?
that's what I always love to, when I have conversations with people, they're like, "Oh, you really are what you look like online." Yeah, because what you see is what you get, and you have to be really comfortable in your own skin and be able to make those choices in order to be able to lead people. You have to lead your own self, and I think time management is a huge part of that.
Yeah. It is a work in progress, though. So I just want to
Always,
leave the audience with
yeah.
that. It doesn't come right away. And
No,
even when you think you have it, in a minute, it can slip
it can
away.
be.
So you have to schedule time for yourself. You have to schedule time for your business, and you really have to live a life. So we all start this journey because we want more, we want better, we want something different, whatever makes you start this business. But don't lose sight of yourself in the process, I think, is like my final message to them. And remember why you're doing it, because you don't just, I know that you do spend a lot of time working in the beginning. You go all in, but there does have to be that relaxed time. And that was the hardest thing for me to get used to. It was all or nothing with me.
Yeah.
And I was just working myself to death. And then I didn't, the love was getting lost. So I said, this doesn't work. I need to go for a walk. I need to go for a swim. I need to go have pizza, whatever. But I need that time for me, you know? So don't lose yourself in the process and manage that time. Don't let that time manage you. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So I think we've said enough of managing your time and not letting it manage you. Any last words, my girl?
Nope. I just think, like you said, really remember the reason why you start anything in the first place. It's to either get you away from pain or to find some pleasure. So I think if you look for pleasure in the little things that are something that really you want to do and it excites you, that it makes it easier to really be intentional about that time.
Great. I love that. That was beautiful. You heard it here with my friend CJZ Boyd. So we're going to let you close out today. And I want to thank you, as always, for coming and spending time with you here. I hope that you get some value and have a great day. Take care.